Hey, I'm Sean,
Hi, and I'm Shannon.
and we're the host of Wifey and Baby Mama. Happy Thursday, family, and happy Thursday, Shannon.
Happy Thursday.
Welcome to episode 14 of season 5. If you can believe it, we only have one more episode left before this season comes to
Wow.
an end. Oh my gosh, and I'm tripping,
I
okay?
know, so fast.
Either time flew by or we're getting really good at this. I don't know. What you think?
I'm not gonna pat myself on the back. I'm gonna say time flew.
Well, I am. I think we're getting good
Okay.
at it. So we can
Okay.
get a little
Okay.
bit of both. Could be, that we've just had amazing guests this season, Shannon, all
Oh
season.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
All
we went
season.
all out to make sure, you guys had other people's opinions to compare these topics to, and we dug deep. And I think tonight may
Mm,
be one of our realest and most important topics we discussed yet. So it's important and sensitive, So we have not one, not two, but three guests here to help us break it down tonight. And tonight's topic is titled Home versus Home. We just keep blowing y'all minds. I know it. We got three people here to talk to y'all tonight. And since
yes,
we
that
have,
and that's the first. That is
isn't
the
that a
first. So
first? Yeah.
I have to, yes, I have to
Give it an
clap for that
applause. Give
because
it an
yes,
applause.
yes, have to clap for that one. We're so happy.
Here at Wifey and Baby Mama, honey, we don't wait for the big bear. We celebrate our small victories. And to be able to get three people in this busy world, three very busy people, to come on at one time, we are grateful. So, since we have so many great minds here and we got to go deep, we're going to go ahead and get right in. We're going to have everyone introduce themselves. And first up, we have Minister Tiffany Simmons. Minister Simmons, would you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, I'm so glad to be here. My name is Minister Tiffany Simmons. I am just excited to be a part of this podcast on tonight. Just a little bit about myself. I minister at Mount Olive Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Dwayne Gillison. I am the mother of four beautiful grown, I can't believe they're all grown children.
Yeah.
And I will just say that I've been always in the giving field. I work in human resources at OV Human Services. And I just want to say that in life, my biggest flex is my ministry, being a licensed minister and just ministering to the community, ministering to the people. So, just a little bit about myself. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for joining us, Minister Tiffany.
You're
I'm looking forward to
welcome.
our conversation tonight. And next up, we have director, producer, Mr. Macquell James. Macquell, would you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yes, hello, good evening. My name is Macquell. I go by Mac. I have a bunch of other nicknames, but Mac is usually the name I go by. Um, I was born in Buffalo, but I was raised in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm an Army veteran. I did 8 years. I have my master's
Mm.
degree and other degrees in film. I have other degrees and another master's degree in psychology. I just relocated back to Buffalo last year. I've been married now for 4 years. I have two sons, one two and one one. And that's about it.
All
That's
right.
enough, Mac.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you for coming, brother. It is so
That's
hard.
about
Our
it.
guests, that's about it. Our guests will tell you that getting men on this show is like pulling teeth. Getting men as busy as you are is almost impossible, Mac. I thank you. We appreciate you, brother. You are
Yes.
our third, maybe third or fourth male guest we've had in 5 seasons. So every male that we get on, like we give you a super duper props. So thank you for joining us tonight. And
Oh,
finally,
Thank
I know
you.
y'all waiting. I know y'all waiting for the girl, the one and only, the guru herself, Mrs. Tamara Zantell, who
Yes.
needs no introduction, but we're going to let her go ahead and do her thing.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Tamara Zantell here, and I am so excited to be returning. This is one of my favorite moments in a time spent with y'all hanging out and having these really important conversations. And I promise I will not
Yes.
cut up tonight. So, if you don't know me, I do want to introduce myself. I am the CEO and founder of Raising a Mogul and Legacy Brand Creators. I too am a mommy of five grown, just like Minister Tiffany, children. And I also am a nana. Yeah. So there are six grand kings and queens in my space. And it is the most remarkable thing ever. So, family is my jam. Also, brand development,
Mhm.
visibility, operations, and really anything around building family legacy. My sweet spot is kidpreneurs and small businesses that are committed to family legacy building. So, if that's you, I'm your girl.
All right.
And you
Yeah,
can
and you're one
always
of us.
and you're one of us. So that's why we,
Yes,
you got the
yeah.
last, we let the company go first. We let our guests go first. Tamara's like a
Right,
permanent fixture here
right.
these days. And listen,
Yeah.
Minister Tiffany did not say, but her church is right here in Buffalo, New York. So if anyone's looking for a church home, Minister Tiffany is Mount Olive is here in Buffalo, New York. And if you want to know anything about Mac doing film, Tamara and her businesses, you can hit Shannon and I up at wifey and baby mama at gmail.com, and we'll be glad to pass on any messages or any requests you may have to reach these wonderful guests we have on here tonight. So, without further ado, tomorrow you will enjoy not being first up to bat tonight. We're going to be polite here and let the only male on this panel of four females who's in the hot seat tonight go first. So, we're going to shoot the first question to him
Let's
and we're going to go
go.
ahead and get started. Shannon, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. I can't stress enough how important tonight's topic is. Like Tamara said, we do like to cut up on the show, but home versus home will highlight the differences in families when it comes to caring for our elderly parents. So that's a topic we thought, Shannon and I, was very near and dear, and so did our guests, which is why they agreed to come on. And we want all of our guests to have an opportunity to get what they need to say off their chest. So right now, without further ado, everybody buckle up, hold on. Mac, are you ready? First question's coming to you. Um,
Yes.
all righty. Here you go. Do you feel putting your parents in an assisted living facility, home, is something you could do? Or do you think you could make that crucial sacrifice and keep them home in their own living environment?
No, I would definitely put my mom in a home. Definitely, for
What?
sure. Um,
Wait a minute.
in the quickness.
Wait a minute. No thought.
Not
It caught me
no
off.
hesitation.
I'm
I
putting
was
her.
not
I'm
ready.
putting
I
her
was
in the
not
most
ready, Matt. I
expensive.
wasn't ready.
I'm putting her in the most expensive facility that I can find
Mhm.
in the world.
Mom, please don't listen to this episode, Mother. Please don't
Oh no,
listen.
no, no,
Okay,
no, no.
no, we
We
got
should
to hear why. We have to hear why.
Yeah, we have to hear why. There's a
Um,
follow-up.
so I think Sean, I think Yvette has met my mom before. I think, or you've seen her before.
Yes,
I believe so.
I have. We filmed. We
Okay.
filmed in her house. She was so gracious
Yeah,
to
yeah,
let us use her home to film. Mhm.
yes. So I'm an only child. Two family household. So of course I'm my mama's boy. So me being married with two kids. I'm gonna just say that for us, I've seen where if you have your parents in the house with a couple, it can be good or bad depending on the parents and depending on the in-laws, depending on the marriage. That can be good
True.
thing or bad. So I'd rather just save that drama and just say no. But also,
Mm.
um, because I'm so close to my mom, to see my mom at that type of health condition, or if she do get that type of health issue, I probably couldn't mentally do it. So
Ah,
and I
That's
can't.
okay.
Yeah,
that's
mentally, I
interesting.
can never see my mom that down and out. And me
Got
also,
you.
yeah. So I'm really big on that mental issue. So I would rather pay somebody or pay a company to take care of my mom for me. So clean, helper, medicine, food, whatever that she needs. I'd rather pay somebody to be that provider for her because mentally, I probably couldn't do it. And I tell her this all the time. Like mentally, I can't do it. So and she knows this already.
So that was my next question. You guys have had this conversation, and I love it. It's almost,
Oh yeah, of
I
course.
mean, we can compare it to burial. My father, when my mom passed, he immediately went to my life insurance is here. I'm like, Dad, no, wait a minute. I cannot handle this right now. But like he said, my mother passed at 54. These are conversations that you have to have. So as long as you guys have had the conversation, then you know what? I'm all good with that. Minister Tiffany, what is your take with your parents?
For my parents, I actually we lost our matriarch, about 5 years ago. There's five of us. I'm a twin, so me and my brother is the youngest of the five. My take on this when we got together was to care for my mom at home. And again, it's
Okay.
nothing against nursing homes because there is pros and cons also to caring for your parents at
Mm-hmm.
home. But
Mm-hmm.
we did take that route. And I can just say that it was something that it wasn't my decision, it was something that we all agreed on. So for us, the pros were, keeping our mom in a familiar, loving environment. She didn't want to leave home. She made that clear. She wanted to be at home. And I think another pro was, upholding cultural and spiritual values of family responsibility. We just
Mm-hmm.
pretty much just felt responsible. We felt like this was something that we needed to do for her because she was so family oriented. And we just felt that separation we couldn't do. Another pro was it was pretty much less expensive. So, I mean, we do have to keep it real. There is a price tag when
Oh,
you
yes.
are dealing with a nursing home or a facility that a lot of people in our community really can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Not if
last,
you want the proper care.
excuse me, what did you repeat that?
I say not if you want the proper care, because there's plenty of homes you can afford, but would you really want your parents there? Because let's keep it real. That is a conversation that's going on in America,
It really is.
especially during COVID. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
that was exposed how they treat those elderly people in some of those facilities. So, Mac, one thing I can say to what he said was he made sure to say the most expensive,
Most
meaning
expensive.
Right.
I'm not just putting my mother
Mm-hmm.
somewhere to be away from me. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
make sure she gets top tier. So
Right.
right,
Yeah.
Tiffany,
Yeah.
that does come with a costly price tag sometimes. You're right.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead and continue.
Another pro for us, it preserved her dignity. Not saying that her dignity would have been lost in a nursing home, but she was able to just maintain her lifestyle, so to speak, that she had at home. So we felt it preserved her dignity and allowed for really that intergenerational connection. It was easier access for the grandkids. She had about 27 to come
Wow.
to still be
Wow.
there to visit their grandma without, having to go to a nursing home facility. Now, there is some cons to it. We do have to be honest. Speaking on behalf of myself, there was emotional and physical exhaustion. Just
Mm.
like he spoke earlier about, we were exhausted, but we were a team. So I will say, when you make that decision to care for somebody at home, you really got to have the support system to do it.
And
Um,
Mac's an only child. So I mean his
right,
argument you're making his argument really clear right now, being
yeah,
an only child. You said you were one of five, Tiff. Well, imagine being
exactly.
the only one. When you take yourself back to that, do you
Mm-hmm.
think mentally you could have handled that?
I don't, and it's hard to even talk about it now because out of the
Mm-hmm.
five of us, it was two of us that kind of had a financial strain because we had to take the FMLA. We had to kind of use up that time, and then money got tight, so you have that financial strain. Again, I
Mm-hmm.
was exhausted, but I'm thankful that we all kind of came together and had a role. My sister at the time, other sister wasn't working, so before we could do FMLA, Tootie could come on in and take care of mom. So it was a strain because, and even if you think of it as jealousy, sometimes we got upset that one sister or one brother could spend more time with mom than we could because we were working. So
Oh.
there is pros and cons to it. It was tough. And I will say that in my closing, I ended up having the home that she stayed in. I had the extra room, but my mother died in my arms. Okay, so
Oh.
I had
Wow.
that moment, with my mom. She was in my arms. She was there. And if I had to do it all over again, I would. But do I have that visual that some of the other siblings may not have? Yes, I do. So, like he said earlier, it really can be a traumatic, emotional event. It really is. It
Wow.
really is.
Well, God bless you and your strength, sister. I
Thank
tell you, I
you.
couldn't imagine. And Tamara, we're going to let you have your take, but I want you to tread lightly, remembering that your parents are my godparents. So don't make me accidentally have to mute your mic. Okay? Don't make me
No,
have
I'm
to
sitting here
accidentally mute
listening
your
and I'm
mic.
like, listen, sometimes I be like, somebody come get them.
But you go
No,
ahead. What's
seriously,
your take on it?
yeah, this is such a great conversation. Listening to
Mm,
both Mac and Minister Tiffany. I have a very similar to both of you, but I also have a little unique situation because my parents are becoming of age where these decisions are something that me and my siblings actually talk about. So and I can resonate with Minister Tiffany, while there's a whole lot of kids, my papa was a Rolling Stone, but there's only very
mhm,
few of them, and maybe two of us, and I am one of the two, and my sister lives in Atlanta, so it is me, right? So I'm
mm,
here, and I've already started kind of like this transition, if you will, into thinking about their care, right? Their long-term care. So one of the things that I made a decision, and I feel I'm not gonna, I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you I don't regret it sometimes, right? But I know it was the best decision, is I swapped houses with my parents. I had a beautiful ranch home, didn't have a lot of stairs, and it was perfect for two elderly people to navigate. My father has bad knees, my
mm,
mother's going blind. So I needed to
Mm.
make a decision, and I did. So I was like, okay, I'll take the house with the stairs or whatever. It's still a beautiful home, but they took the house that was, I raised my kids in. And I was like, you need this
Oh.
space, you have your dogs, and that was one of the decisions I made. So now whether that's the home that they will stay in forever, and I'm gonna say yes, because my mother has made it clear that
okay.
she does not want to go anywhere, and my father won't even talk
Mm.
about it. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it's interesting, but I have had concerns, even like things that I want to do in my business or in my life. I'm like, I want to move, I want to do something else, but I'm like, what does that look like? Because I know that my parents aren't going to be here forever. I need to spend time with them, and I need to be close to them right now. So this is like an active thing in my life right now. One of the things I will say, piggybacking on what Minister Tiffany said, is that we have talked about and we have benefited from, them being home, and my kids, my grandkids, they're great grandparents. You know what I mean? And
Right.
now,
They
like, this is
are.
becoming more and more
Mm,
rare, for you to be around, and we've started to record their stories, just, having family dinners and letting my dad just talk about what it was like when he was a teenager and his like days in radio and all the different things. And like my kids wouldn't have all those moments, so we're capturing moments now, and they're going to continue as long as they're accessible. Not to say they can't be accessible if they are in a home in some place really, really expensive, like Mac is proposing. It can happen, But the other side of this, I do want to say really quick before you move on to your next question, is that I had this experience with my grandparents. So I had the beautiful opportunity to take care of my grandparents when they were transitioning.
oh,
We
wow.
sold their house in Amherst, which I believe today was the worst mistake we could have made, because they both had
Uh-huh.
pensions,
Mm,
had a lot of money, moved them to this very, very expensive um care facility where they had their own suite, and it was like around the clock care. It was all these things, and the money, when I tell you, the money just went like poof before our eyes.
wow.
And then I still, on top of that, even though they were at this top-notch place, my grandmother hated it, everybody, and was cussing people out. So it was like she's not behaving, and she
Oh,
didn't love it. So we
Yeah.
had these moments
so quick
where
question.
it was like your family needs to be here. So we still love our grandmother. So we were still
Ho
around. So I was
ho
assigned
Uh-huh.
as a
Hold on,
mother
Tamara. I
of
think
little
Macquell
baby.
wanted to ask you a question,
Oh, I'm
pertaining to
sorry.
what you were saying. Go ahead,
So,
Mac.
so to add on to that, so I'm fairly young and my mom is fairly young. So I also noticed that my mom tends to not say take me serious when I tell her things. So she doesn't really take me serious when tell her certain health things. So I've noticed that she listens more medical people more than me. So if
Hmm.
a doctor tells her something, she'll listen to a doctor more than if I tell her something. So that's another reason why I would rather put her into a home, because I feel like she'll listen more, especially when
Hmm.
it comes to
Mm.
health and working out or eating habits or medicine habits. I feel like she'll be more inclined to do what they say more than what I say,
Yeah.
because family tends to not listen to other family
Yeah.
also when they're younger too. So
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I agree. I think what we're saying is it depends. I think it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the wishes and the desires of your parents. It
Mhm.
depends on, culture. It depends on what you have the capacity for. Capacity, whether it's the finances, the time, the energy, the support system. So it depends. My grandparents had all the money. They had the beautiful place, but I still had to go there with 3 little kids and stay the night and grease my grandmother's scalp, 3 days a week.
Okay.
So it was still a
Yeah.
heavy lift for me as a young mom with little kids, and I did it, and I did it proudly, but so I don't think I just want to introduce the idea that it's not a either or. Sometimes it's a combination. You know what I mean? Like, you still have the lift. Because you choose a facility doesn't mean it's not going to be stressful, and all the things that Minister Tiffany said. There's still hard decisions. There's
Mm-hmm.
still exhaustion. There's still the financial strain. All the things
Hmm.
are still there,
And
so,
when
or
you
could
said
still be
before
there, I
you
should say.
right, but you said before you guys go to the next question, actually that there's no more questions. We wanted we wanted everyone to have this opportunity to tell the different sides of it, because sometimes Shannon and I just agreed it's not black and white, you know?
That's
Yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I actually was thinking, well, one of the things we started doing, I told you we did the house swap. We now have a cleaner, cleaner, kind of like gentle caretaker that comes. She comes 2 days a week. Again, I told you guys my mom's going blind, so she can't. The cooking situation, she will not stop cooking. Black mamas and their food and the kitchen and all the things. She is not letting it go, and so, but she makes a mess, right? She makes it's like a mess, but you can't see it. So we have someone that comes several times a week to do the bathrooms and the kitchen. And so that's helpful. But now I'm thinking, okay, as they progress and they get older, and just things they can't help, what other kind of help do we need to bring into the home? So we started doing like interviews, and I'm trying to see what other resources are available. So that's where we are right now to see. So it could probably be like they stay in the home, but we do have that extra support, so we don't have that caregiver burnout and the skills gap. I think that Macquell is talking about, where it's like, okay, I'm not a medical professional, so they do need someone that knows what they're talking about, or could give my dad his meds, or would know what to do if one of them fell. So that's
Right.
the next step in this process for me, anyways.
Figuring out what comes next, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Shannon, do you have a take on it?
Well, with my dad and my mom, so my parents divorced, of course, when I was 3. So my dad, before he passed, him and my stepmother, they moved in with my youngest sister, which was their daughter that they had together. She's my half sister, but my
Mhm.
sister. And then my
Right.
mom and her husband have moved in with my other younger sister on my mother's side. Um, uh, so that was a different situation because that wasn't my sister's father. It's my mother's husband, that my sister had to, you know, determine, hey, this is a package that I'm taking, even though this isn't my dad. Um, but I want my mother with me. So that created a whole nother situation. But not a bad one, but it was just something that took a while uh, to decide on, and she decided to take that on. And because both of these sisters are single, so I think that has something to do with it too. So that's probably a whole
Okay.
nother discussion and episode when you're married, and what if your spouse doesn't want to take your parent in? That's a whole nother thing.
Just like
Mm.
But
Macquell said,
because,
he's avoiding that.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
avoiding that's
Um,
avoiding the train wreck before it happens sometimes. It's
right,
yeah,
right.
I
Yeah,
get it.
but both worked out, wonderful. My dad, had a great space until, he passed. And then my mother's doing well. Her and her husband are doing well at my other sisters. So, I would take them anybody. And luckily I did, my husband, when I did ask him about taking my dad in, he said he'd take anybody in. So
I love it.
I'll take your mom, I'll take your dad, I'll take anybody. But
That's that's so amazing. I think Shannon,
yeah.
I've said on the show before, We went through that. My ex-husband and I, the second husband, y'all. Let's refer to him as the second husband because we.
Okay.
So the second husband and I ended up taking my dad because he had a nervous breakdown, and I was just we were a fresh relationship, and then like I was single in my own house when I met him, and like instantly like 2 months later, it's like dad needs to live with us. He's like, all right, cool. Which room we giving him? Then he came home the next week, was like, well, let's just buy another house and give him his own room. I'm like, this dude is nice. So, you know, it works. It worked
Right.
out. He is
Right.
nice.
Right.
But then I ended up marrying the other husband again, right? So I came back to Buffalo. And honestly, I miss my mom and dad every single day because just like Minister Tiffany, both of my parents have transitioned. And I can't help but wonder if them being called home early wasn't in my cards with the life that I'm living right now. Like tomorrow, I couldn't imagine still having to care for my parents with what I'm doing
Mm,
on the entrepreneur side and what you're doing. So God bless you seriously. And
mm,
because of this journey I'm on right now, I know for a fact I wouldn't be able to walk in it. There would be no way because
Mm.
my mother and father had 8 kids. But guess what? I was
yeah.
the last person to get my mama home. The last house my father had, I bought it. Even though it was 8 of
Mhm.
us. It was, it was almost was like, not that they didn't help, don't get me wrong. But I was the kid that I was going to make sure it was all good in the end, no matter what I had to
Mm.
sacrifice. Even though
Mhm.
I was a brand new my husband and I were brand new newlyweds. Bringing your father on is a hard thing. But I'm going to tell you guys honestly, I'll say it right now, it didn't affect our relationship at all. He was a wonderful guy. And he and dad
Mm.
got along and everything was fine, but I don't know what that would look like even with Jimmy and I right now. You know what I'm saying? Because our dynamic is so different. So every situation has to be assessed differently, just like anything in life. But I couldn't imagine tomorrow doing what you're doing. When I think about all the things I had to do for my dad, dialysis, doctor's appointment, specialist, and now going to a production meeting, hey, we need you to be here to film in 2 days, it would have never worked. So
Wow.
sometimes what seems like a misfortune is sometimes a blessing because I would be worried about my parents every day if I couldn't be with them and I had to leave on a whim, fly to the country, fly. So God took them home unexpectedly and very quick. And for the purpose of this topic, I can say that I'm thankful that I don't have to choose between my parents and my career or my children. And
Mm.
I sympathize for anyone that do. I couldn't imagine it.
Mm.
Wow, that's an interesting take. Thank you for sharing that because I didn't even think about it that way. But I
Yeah.
would say that if you had to, you would. If you had to, you
If
would,
I
right?
had to,
Mm.
I
If you
no,
had to, you
if
would.
I had to, I wouldn't have my career. I would absolutely choose my parents every time.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And I'm actually in
yeah,
a weird place because I'm like
because
I'm
you're
doing.
having to choose your parents.
Right, I'm choosing my parents, but I'm just so grateful, and it's like, "Thank you, Lord, that I have the resources," and this is where it comes
Yeah,
down to, now everyone has the
Yeah.
resources to
that's
support their
right.
parents, like, I got a text from the house cleaner, and she's like, "Well, I need to do this," and I'm like, "Girl, you running up the bill. What's happening over here?" Right? So, it's like everybody has a different situation. There's so many things, my mother can't drive, soon my father's not gonna be able to drive. So then, like,
So,
what does that look like? I don't even know yet, but I know by the grace of God, I'm gonna work it out. It is going to work out.
but did you guys all hear that we have 5 different situations just on this podcast tonight?
Yes,
You
yeah.
see why it's so important to have these conversations? Minister Tiffany and I's parents are both gone home, but hers was in a total different way. Both of my parents died suddenly. Like no one expected it, no caretaking. I talked to mom Wednesday night, Thursday morning, she was dead. I talked to dad the day before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Day, he was dead. Like it's so
Mm,
different. And Minister Tiffany,
Mm.
went through the whole thing. Her mother died in her arm. Macquell's mom is still not in the place yet that he has to make that decision. Shannon's parents are both living now.
No,
Her
not my
father lived
dad.
with her sister. No, I know. I said he lived with
Yeah.
her. I was coming through to correct it.
Oh,
He
okay.
lived with
Okay.
his daughter before he transitioned, and now her mother is living
Mhm.
with her daughter. And Tamara is managing life, taking care of parents, and being a super kick butt entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
mhm.
So if anyone's listening, I hope we all was able to provide something here tonight that it doesn't have to be black or white. Sometimes it could be a
Right.
mix. It can
Mhm.
make gray, it can make clay, or it can be a very expensive home, according to Macquell. So, does anybody else have anything else they want to say before we wrap up?
I love
Um,
that. That's funny.
not that I can think of. I mean, besides, yeah, I think it depends on everybody's situation. Of course, your family dynamic, your religious
Hmm.
background, your financial background, where you live, because because my mom, she lives in a single floor house. I live in a house where I got stairs. So my mom don't like stairs, so she couldn't even come here if she
Mhm.
wanted to. And
Mhm.
I love my mom's house, but my house is bigger, so I like being in my house more. So yeah, it definitely depends on the dynamic. It's a big thing. Also, my mom has cats. My wife don't like cats, so that's definitely another big thing.
You are
So
so practical. I just love your take on things.
I'm
Like that's not gonna work out.
very,
But this is the
I'm
benefit,
very,
Sean and
I'm
Shannon, the
very,
benefit of having the male perspective because it's
It's
just
all
it's
Yes,
cut and
yeah.
dry.
freaking
yeah,
benefit. It's
Like
always a
it's not gonna
benefit. It's
work.
cut and dry. It's no guessing. She can't come here, and I'm not going there.
It's
yeah,
Minister Tiffany,
period.
yeah.
Minister Tiffany, do you have any parting words for us and the audience?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say that at the end of the day, the question is not just where will our parents live, but how will we honor them in the way they deserve. That's the real
Mhm.
Absolutely.
question. And so, for a cultural truth, I just want to say that for Black families, the choice is rarely simple, as you see on tonight. And I just want to say it's where love, history, money, and survival all meet at the kitchen table. That's the
Mm.
Girl.
cultural truth of it all.
It's a fact.
That's it.
It's a
That's it.
fact.
That's it. I love that. I don't even feel like I have anything to
Yeah.
say, but I
I
do.
know it. And I think, I mean, I got to
But
do the
she
wrap
does.
up. I didn't,
I know.
Wait a
I
minute.
need,
You done dropped the
Let
mic
Tamara.
on
so what you got to say, Miss Tamara?
No, I just what I was thinking before Minister Tiffany dropped the mic was just, sometimes the most the most loving decision is not really one that looks perfect, to
That's right.
outsiders. And I
Mm-hmm.
think
Hmm.
tonight we proved that it's a very personal thing and it depends, like I said before. But it's definitely one that ensures safety, dignity, and the peace for your parents, for our parents, and for your family. That's the bottom line.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Amen.
I kind of feel like y'all stepped on my wrap up. I'm not really feeling that because I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up between you and Minister Tiffany, but I do have to close it out. So I'll try. And I'll just wrap up tonight's topic, home versus home, with a quote I once heard. And then I'll just kind of go off of that. Sometimes a parent, two parents can raise 10 kids, but in the end, it's hard to find one of those children to care for those parents until that casket closes and everyone shows up with their hands out. I don't want that to be us. Anyone on this podcast or anyone listening to this podcast tonight. We should all remember that a very critical time in our parents' life, they chose us. Even if it wasn't convenient for them, we're here. So if and when you reach that crossroad with your parents, I pray that everyone makes that decision with the same love, keeping in mind the sacrifices they made for us. And that's my wrap up for tonight.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Excellent wrap up. All right, on to our next segment, which is the sound off.
So, we've come to the sound off segment of our show. This is where we announce a song related to the topic of tonight, while also helping to add to your musical playlist. We use songs from all categories, songs from all genres, and tonight we have two. Because you know what? We have two parents. So Shannon made a request that will not be happening tonight because I'm not going to be on here crying. But we're going to introduce that in
Oh,
season 6. Sorry, Shannon. I know you was going to so disappointed. So I'm going to go ahead and let you down easy here, girl. But because we have
okay.
two songs and we had so many guests, I knew we'd go over. But for our mamas, because the mama's always the queen of the house, we have Boys to Men, Mama. Okay, Shannon, I'm gonna give you a little bit. Mama, you know I love you. So if y'all ain't heard that, that is the song tonight for our mothers and for our fathers out there. We have Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father.
Dance with my
If
father.
if
Yes,
now I will not attempt that one because I'm telling y'all where that's going,
yeah,
straight to the tear barrel. So,
yeah.
anyways, These
Yeah,
are two timeless classics that crosses all color barriers and need no explaining. So Shannon, I'm sorry I couldn't honor more of your requests. But if
that's
you have any
fine.
songs that you'd like us to sing, I'd be too emotional. Shannon, tell them where they can add to our or add about our perfect, wonderful guest tonight. Where can they send their requests to?
Yes, we welcome your feedback and your comments, and you can send all of that to wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com. Once again, that is wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com. All right, that is our show for tonight. We want to thank our guests once again for joining us. Mac, it was so great to have that male perspective. We always welcome that. Minister Tiffany, thank you for your first visit, and we welcome you both back anytime. Tamara, you're one of us. You might as well be a third host. So, anytime you want to come join us, you don't even need an invitation.
So thank you all so much for answering the call. Shannon, this is our last episode with guests. Next week, you all, we're going to have to break your heart with our goodbye episode. But we'll hand
Yeah.
you all the statistics, give you a few things we're looking at for season 6. And we hope that we ended our season with guests with a bang because these three were wonderful tonight. And so
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Until
uh,
next week.
we love you all. Bye.